Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech, number 141 here, looking at the top 10 EDH cards from cons. There's some wonderful cards out here in this set. I know that I'm going to have missed a few. Please put in the comments the ones that you think I have missed. From an investment perspective, EDH is definitely one of the current drivers in the market for value, but it drives the market very differently than standard cards. Standard cards jump up right away. EDH cards slowly but surely increase over time, and EDH foils are where the value really is. These cards in foil will be very, very good over the long term. Now, there is more risk in EDH cards. If they see a reprint, they crash pretty quickly, but I think it's well worth it to pick up the foils of some of these guys now, hold on to them, and trade them out for whatever you want later. In the honorable mentions here, obviously the fetch lands are amazing, but the fetch lands are a reprint, and we knew they were amazing. The tricolored lands, though, are worth picking up in foil. They are very useful in EDH. The ability to hit 3 of your colors of land without taking damage is extremely nice. In the honorable mention spot here, blue has some pretty incredible cards. Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time could easily be number 1 on this list, but they don't do anything except just get you cards in and of themselves. Scheming, on the other hand, is a very flavorful card that fits into a particular type of deck. I like Scheming a lot for a Reanimator deck. It is a little bit on the combo side, which is why it has only made it to the honorable mentions. Over here, though, we've got some other amazing cards. Ride Down is one of my absolute favorites. Very, very nice, flavorful card. You can use it really effectively with swords. Swords often get chump blocked so that you don't get the advantage of the sword, but Ride Down fixes that by giving the creature trample and destroying the blocker. I really like how the artwork's got this giant sword in it. It knows how it's being played. Savage Knuckleback, very nice card, very nice win condition, decent against control and against removal. I really like the card. Siege Rhino, it just wants to be in a flicker deck. It wants to be flickered again and again and again. I really like the Rhino. Number 10 spot here, I've got Grimm. This guy is incredible. The ability to draw cards is very, very useful in EDH. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you can draw a card. I can see you drawing a lot of cards with this card. In the number 9 spot here, I've got Crackling Doom, and this is what I like about the current Magic design. They are thinking about multiplayer games. This is each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among them and takes 2 damage. This is very playable in EDH. The number 8 spot here, I've got Utter End, which I actually like better than Vindicate in EDH. EDH is a slower game, so you're going to be able to get up to that 4 mana. Instant speed is much better than sorcery, and exiling is much better than destroying. Utter End is going to be a little bit lower in value because it is one of the promo cards, but it's still going to be great long term. I really look forward to playing this in EDH. Dragonclaw here. Surrak, who knows how to pronounce it, but Surrak Dragonclaw, just incredible. Cannot be countered, 6/6. That's what I want from a big creature. And Flash. That basically gives it haste. You cast it at the end of your opponent's turn, and then you're able to attack with it on your turn. It gives all your other creatures trample. Really like this guy. I can see him as a commander and a favorite for individuals in green, blue, red. Number 6 here, I've got Harden Scales. Really nice 1 casting cost enchantment. Very rarely do I like cards that really force you to play a combo together in several ways to get the advantage out of it, but Harden Scales is just so cheap. You can play it while curving out very easily, and it makes cards like Ajani, Mentor of Heroes, or Scavenging Ooze much better. Both cards that are already very playable in EDH. Now, there are some combo bait things with Harden Scales. I'm going to avoid those here. If you want to leave them in the comments, I understand. Number 5 spot here, I've got one that I almost pulled entirely. Narset is just broken in some decks, but a lot of fun in others. I like commanders that are hexproof. A 3/2 with first strike for 6 casting cost is not overpowered, but it is if you start casting spells like Enter the Infinite. The card is just incredibly powerful. Maybe it shouldn't have made my list because it's a little bit on the combo bait side. You could play it fairly and play things like Lightning Helix, which is how I would play it. But I'm sure that it's going to be played in a broken fashion, also taking multiple attack steps and casting your entire library. Number 4 spot here, I've got the 2 planeswalkers. Both of these are very mid-range, playable in EDH. I like planeswalkers that can defend themselves. I like planeswalkers that give you a significant advantage. Out of these 2, Sorin is actually my favorite of the 2 for EDH. Sorin has the ability to defend himself with a 2/2 flying vampire. A flying defender is so much better than a ground pounder in EDH. And the +1 looks like it's designed for EDH. It gives your creatures +1/+0 and lifelink until your next turn. So all of the time that you're blocking other people attacking you, you've got that lifelink. What wonderful design. Now Sarkhan, a lot of flavor here. The emblem is going to be super useful for the red decks. I like it. I also like the ability that you can attack right away. And very solid planeswalker. Planeswalkers tend to be targets, but at least they're not attacking you. Number 3 spot here, I've got the charms. And I didn't even notice until I put all the charms together that the fire on each of the charms is making the sign for each of the different clans. These all have really nice abilities. Jeskai charm I've used a lot already. The put target creature on top of its owner's library is wonderful, especially with fetch lands. Your opponent goes to fetch, you go, oh, your commander, he looks like he wants to be on the top of your library. Not to be seen again this game. Each of these have at least one mode that is good in EDH, and then having those edge cases out there makes them extremely useful in EDH. If you're playing these colors, I would seriously consider the charms. Number 2 spot here, I've got Clever Impersonator. I'm not going to say too much on him because I did a whole video on Clever Impersonator. The card is amazing. Really, really nice. Beautiful looking foil. I can't wait to clone a Karin Liberated or a Jitte. I want to play him so badly. I just haven't got him in play yet. Number 1 spot here, I've got Villainous Wealth. I like beating people with their own cards, and this is wonderful. Get together a bunch of mana, flip over a huge portion of their deck, and put it into play. Cast it yourself. This is a really nice game-ending card. Yes, it could be a combo bait, but it could also be cast for 6 to 12 and give you a nice solid board state out of it. I really like this design of card that gives you an advantage, takes things from your opponent, allows you to decide which player at the table you're going to be able to get the best stuff from. I look forward to playing this card in EDH, definitely. Thanks, this has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech. I also wanted to say thank you to everybody who's out there on Patreon supporting the channel. We've got a new supporter here with the odd name of Salty Marshmallows. I'm not going to ask what the name means. I put it in there. I do reserve the right to reject some names, but after a quick search of Urban Dictionary, I didn't find anything there, so the name made it in. Thank you, everybody who's supporting the channel. I'm also less than 50 people away from 5,000. Got some incredible stuff coming up this week. I've also got some pack openings for recent people who've joined on Patreon. Thanks.